So I'm Sandy Morales, and I'm the CEO at Big Brothers Big Sisters of Dane County. Yeah, it's important in our program for bigs to have a driver's license, a car, and car insurance, simply because we know that in order to transport your littles in our community, to go to the zoo, to go to basketball games, cars is a car is the fastest and easiest way possible to get to those locations. We acknowledge that there is public transportation in our community, but with a car, it's just a way for matches to get to activities quickly, and obviously, we're always talking about safety as well. So it's the nature of our city in terms of how we get around, and therefore that is why it is important to the relationship to make sure that the big can come and pick up the little and transport them to their match activity. So we recognize that not everybody might have a car to get around in the community. We do have public transportation, such as buses and Uber and other share-related modes of transportation. And if that is the only way our volunteer is able to transport their little, we can totally work with that volunteer. But we would probably work just a little bit closer with that volunteer to plan out how they would use public transportation in their match activities. We would want to make sure, obviously, that the little that they're matched with, that the parent is also comfortable in having their child travel to match activities using public transportation. So, I would say that while it does not prohibit a volunteer from using public transportation, we probably have to work with that match just a little bit more in terms of what are the match activities that are easily accessible via public transportation, and just make sure that there is communication happening between parent and the big to ensure that everyone is on the same page on match activities that are occurring, and that the way of transporting and attending some of these match activities is either using bus or Uber. So, but otherwise, we are flexible and don't want to steer anybody away from being involved in our program just because they don't have a vehicle. So part of our process is conducting a background check of our volunteers, and one of the things that we look at is the driving record. Child safety is of the utmost importance to Big Brothers Big Sisters, and we want to make sure that our kids are being transported in modes of transportation such as cars in a safe way. We want to make sure that they're using seat belts. But part of conducting the background check and looking at driving records is looking for patterns of perhaps where people have been endangered as a passenger. And so those are the types of things that we're looking for. We understand that people might have certain tickets or violations because of speeding here and there, but I think it's when we start seeing a bigger pattern of those violations that we start having more concerns and we want to ask more questions. And again, child safety is of utmost importance to us, and so digging in to that information and working with the volunteer to see what happened in these occasions. And so again, while having violations on your driving record does not prevent you from becoming a volunteer, we do want to look at, if we do start seeing patterns, we want to address those and make sure that it does not put our kids in danger. So again, we welcome everybody to our agency to become a volunteer. And while not everybody needs a car to be part of our program, a car is always easier to come and pick up our littles, take them to different places throughout their community. But again, there are plenty of activities that are going on in our own littles neighborhoods or nearby that you can get through with public transportation. We will work with volunteers to ensure that they can have a great volunteer experience, and so that our littles can also have a great experience being matched with a volunteer. But again, we care about our child's safety, so being able to ensure that our bigs are able to transport their littles from their home to the match activity and back to their home, whether that's public transportation or where that's vehicle or using their own vehicle. We just want to make sure that we are looking at all the information and making sure that our kids are safe in that relationship.